All right, welcome back. It is our third day of virtual classroom, our second day of doing our telling time lesson. For this lesson, you are going to want the clock and the hands that you made yesterday. Okay. You are definitely going to want a pencil or a pen and your notebook. And then I would suggest for today, you have a smaller object for drawing your circles, but if you have the same big object that you used yesterday, something like that to make your circles would be good, okay? So I'll give you a second to gather those materials if you need them. This morning, we are going to talk a little bit about schedules. So as I was thinking about my day at home, I was thinking about how Charlie really likes to kind of do the same things every time of day. He needs the snack at the same time every day. He needs lunch at the same time every day. So in my home, we're working on making a schedule and kind of using that schedule to help make our day feel predictable. So in our house, our schedule starts at 6 o'clock because that's when Charlie's going to wake up no matter what. So it starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. And he usually wakes up and he eats breakfast, and then by 7 o'clock, he really wants to be playing and moving around, okay? And then at 8 o'clock in the morning, that's usually a good time for us to go on a walk before he wants his snack, okay? So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna practice using the clocks that you made yesterday to tell the times for 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 8 o'clock. And then if you guys wanna work with your families to talk about your schedule for the rest of the day, you guys could make even more clocks than this, because some of you have had lessons on telling time to the half hour and the 5 minutes, and you might wanna put more detail into yours, okay? But we're gonna start by making our clocks say 6 o'clock. So we know that the hour hand is short, short, short. And if it's 6 o'clock, my short hour hand is gonna point to the 6, okay? This is gonna be hard to show to you, but if you're putting yours down flat on the table, it should be pretty easy. And anytime it is o'clock, the long minute hand is gonna point up to the 12. And if you remember yesterday with our minutes, our crayon, we wrote the O clock, okay? So now I'm gonna put this down flat, so I know you can't see it, but take a minute to make your clock say 6 o'clock. And then you can grab your circular object, and I'm actually gonna start adding clocks to my schedule. So right next to where I wrote the time 6 o'clock, I am gonna take my can. I'm drawing a clock next to it like this. Okay. So there's my circle, my analog clock. And then I'm going to try to add those numbers like I did yesterday. This could be really tricky. It requires a lot of spatial thinking. It's a great time to ask an adult for help if you need it. But if you remember, we start with the 12 at the top. Okay. And then maybe what you want to do next today, since you're not cutting out and folding, is to add your 6 at the bottom. Okay. Next, I'm going to add my 3 and my 9. Okay, so adults in the home, this requires a lot of spatial planning. This could be really tricky, but it's a really good opportunity for you to help your child and have them work on that. Okay, so we're going to put our hand on our finger on the 12, and we're going to draw our 1, 2. Okay, so even Miss Jenny's is not perfect, right? 12, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to add our 4 and our 5. Okay. Keep going around clockwise. We've got 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 7, 8. Okay. Then if we keep going clockwise, we've got 9, we need 10, 11, and then 12. Okay. So my hour hand is short, short, short. And if it's 6 o'clock when Charlie wakes up, my hour hand is going to point right to the 6. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a dot in the middle, and I'm going to make a short hour hand pointing directly to the 6 like this. Okay. And then if you have your minute hand crayon, my minute hand is long, and when it's o'clock, it's going to point up to the 12. Okay, so this is my clock. that says 6 o'clock. All right, now what's gonna happen next, and this is really hard for me to show you by holding it up, but I'm gonna do my best, okay? So what's gonna happen now is my minute hand is gonna go all the way around the clock, all 60 minutes of that hour, and it's gonna point back at the O clock, okay? But it's not 6 o'clock anymore, it's 7 o'clock, and it's time for Charlie to be playing. So my hour hand was on the 6 at 6 o'clock. Now it's gonna keep going around the clock, and it's gonna point right at the 7 to say, pardon me just a moment, to say 7 is my hour, o'clock are my minutes. It's 7 o'clock, okay? So I'm gonna get out my can again. I'm gonna trace it next to the 7. Nice. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw those numbers around, okay? I'm not going to give you the same instructions again. I'm just going to let you pause the video if you want, and I'm going to add my numbers around the clock. I'm going to start with my 12 and my 6, then my 3 and my 9, okay? Then I'm going to go around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. I'm going to keep going around clockwise. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. I'm going to draw my dot in the middle of the circle again. And now this time, remember we're saying that it is 7 o'clock. Okay. So my short hour hand is going to point towards the 7. That. And I'm going to get out my minute hand crayon. The minute hand is still pointing up at the 12. It's still pointing to 12, okay, because it is 7 o'clock, all right? What I'm going to do now to make my schedule is I'm going to add in what happens. So it's 6 o'clock, it's breakfast, ooh, if I don't know how to spell it, stretch it like rubber band, right? Breakfast. So at 6 o'clock in my house, we have breakfast. At 7 o'clock, Charlie plays. So I'm going to write play. Play. So this is the beginning of my schedule. The next thing that happens in our schedule is that 8 o'clock, Charlie likes to go for a walk. Okay? So I'm going to let you pause the video if you want. I'm going to draw my clock to make it say 8 o'clock. You can work on making your clock say 8 o'clock. Then unpause the video and check to see if your clock looks like mine, okay? So you're pausing the video. I'm making my clock. Trace the circle. Write the numbers. Short hour hand is pointing to the 8. My long minute hand is pointing to the 12 to say 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, we walk. Okay. So what you guys are going to notice is that for 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 8 o'clock, the long minute hand is always pointing to the 12, pointing to the O clock of the clock. The hour hand is short, short, short. The hour hand pointing to the 6 at 6 o'clock, to the 7 at 7 o'clock, to the 8 at 8 o'clock. Make sense? Okay. So I know that this is kind of a complicated process to draw the clocks, but it's actually a really great, parents, just so you know, families, this is a really good like planning activity for children to have a sense of their schedule, but it's also really good for their brains to think about what it means to go clockwise, to think about how to space out the numbers on the clock. So even if it's hard, this would be a great project to do over the next couple of days. We're not going to have any new math lessons tomorrow, so you guys can spend some time over the weekend, whenever you have time, and this could be something you do over a couple of days. Sound good? All right, see you back here.